National 5 Maths Practice Paper E, Paper 2. Now for question 8, we've got this diagram here. We've got to calculate the length AB, which is the distance between the two hostels. Now we've got a bit of information here. We've got a bearing of 50 degrees from hostel A to the viewpoint, which is 5 kilometres away. So that's all marked on the diagram there. Now hostel B is due east of hostel A. Well, if you think about your compass points, north, east, south, west, if you've got a point here and somewhere is due east, from north round to east is a bearing of 90 degrees. Well, if B is due east of A, that is 90 degrees. So 50 add 40 gives you a 90 degree angle. Now we can add a few north arrows in here as well, because at all these points, if we want to measure some bearings, we're going to have these north arrows put in. Now what we're asked to do first of all, find the length of AB. So this is the measurement that we're after. So we've got an angle, we've got a side, but we don't have anything else here. So we're maybe going to have to try and find some other angles, etc. before we can do that. Now we've got a north arrow and it's parallel to this north arrow. So that means that this angle and this angle here add up to 180. So 50 and 130 make 180 degrees. Now we've also got Susie's walking on a bearing of 294 from hostel B to the same viewpoint. Now your viewpoint's up here, remember. So that is a bearing there of 294 degrees. Now that's not marked on the diagram. You have to read that from the notes. So you have to read the question to make sure you get all the information you need. So 360 is all the way around. So if you subtract 294, you get 66 degrees. Now that north arrow and that north arrow are parallel. So 180 take away 66 gives us an angle of 114 degrees. So as that one and that one have to add up to 180. Now once we've got that information, we can add these two together and subtract from 360. And that's going to give us this missing angle here. So it's 360, subtract those two added up. And that gives us 116 degrees. Now what the question asks us to do is to find the measurement from A to B. Well, we don't have that just yet, but what we can do is we can use the fact that we've got 2 out of the 3 angles in a triangle. They all add up to 180 degrees. So if I subtract those two from 180, I get 24 degrees. So I've got this 3 angle in here now. So I've got this angle, and this one. So we've got all 3 angles there. So I can now start to think about which formula I'm going to use to allow me to find this missing measurement here. Well, I've got pairs. I've got 116 and then the missing angle there. I've got 5 and I've got 24. So there's another pair there as well. So I can use pairs. I can use the sine rule. Now if that's angle A, this will be side A. If that's V, that'll be side V. If that's B, that'll be side B. So using the sine rule, normally it's A over sine A, B over sine B, etc. But we've got different letters. So it's going to be A over sine A equals B over sine B, and it will be V over sine V. Now I don't know what A is. Over sine 40 equals B, we've got 5, over sine 24 equals V, which we don't know, that is the one that we want though, over sine 116. So I need to use this one, because I need to find out what V is. I need to use this one because I've got 5 and I've got sine 24 there, so I don't need that. If I cross multiply, I get V sine 24 equals 5 sine 116. I can then divide both sides by sine 24. And that is 11.0488, etc. So we can just say that is just 11 kilometres. And that is the length of AB. Now question number 9. It's a little bit tricky actually, because it seems like you'd have to use the arc length formula to start off with, but it's actually not the fact for part A. You use that for part B, not for part A. So what you can see here in the question, it tells you the length of the demolition ball is 12.5 metres. So from there to there is 12.5. But what that also means is from here to here is 12.5. Now we can see that where the ball is at this point is 2.5 metres above the ground. Well, if that swings around to here, and it's only 1.5 metres above the ground, this small bit here is only 1 metre. Okay, so it's 2.5, take away 1.5 tells you that's 1 metre. Now, if the length of the chain from here to here is 12.5, and also from here to here is 12.5, if we subtract the 1 metre from there to there, it's only going to be 11.5. Now you can see I've already marked that A for adjacent, because we've got an angle, we've got the adjacent, the hypotenuse on the opposite side. Now I want to try and find out what the angle is. So cos x is adjacent over hypotenuse. So that's equal to 11.5 over 12.5. Therefore x is the inverse cos of 11.5 over 12.5. And when you do that in your calculator, you're going to get 23 degrees, which is what we were attempting to show. It's 23 degrees. Now we can actually use the arc length formula. So it's to say, what it says to do is to calculate the maximum length of the arc to which the end of the chain swings. So you're trying to find this measurement from there to there. Now we've already worked out 23 degrees, so if we're going to double the 23 degrees, our overall angle is going to be 46 degrees. So our arc length formula, which is one you actually have to remember, so arc length is angle over 360. So angle, call it, well maybe x isn't the best thing to call it this time because we've already got an x in here, so we can maybe change that to something else, so call it theta, over 360 times pi times d. If it was a sector area you'd be after, you'd use pi r squared, but it's an arc length, so it's pi d. So the angle we're using is not 23, it's going to be 46, that's 2 lots of 23. So over 360 times pi, and the diameter is double the radius. The radius is 12.5, so your diameter is going to be 12.5 times 2, which is 25, and that's in metres. So we're going to use that. So 46 over 360 times pi times 25, that gives us 10.0356, etc. And we could just round that to 10 metres. It says to 3 significant figures. Your third significant figure is the 0 here, but that's going to stay the 0 because of the 3. So it's just going to be 10 metres.